I don't know many highly experienced jumpers that I would say are scared, but now we're talking definitions, right? So that your definition of fear might be the healthy respect that you have that causes you to remain vigilant, not paranoid, right? But still awake and
Right.
aware because that engine could quit at 2,000 feet on the way to altitude. The guy sitting by the door could have his main dump out. There's all kinds of possibilities in being open minded about it, where you're still awake and aware, but not worrisome. And I would evidence that by what's the heart rate, what's the blood pressure, and how happy are you? Those, right? If you're not happy, none of it works. If you have a relatively high heart rate and you're happy, yeah, it's still kind of a workable situation to a certain degree. But I think if you can put all three of those together, you get optimum performance, even if you would say, well, I'm still a little scared. I'm jumping out of a plane. Some people would say that, but maybe they're trying to make the newer jumpers feel better. Maybe. My guess is,
Okay.
because there's been studies, right? There's actually, with heart rate monitors and things like that, and blood pressure is a little harder to measure, but they did a number of different metrics with highly experienced jumpers, and we found that, as you would imagine, for a new jumper, they got a faster heart rate, higher blood pressure. It's obvious, and they get that escalating as they're approaching the door and exiting, and they also get it escalating at pull time, and they certainly get it on landing. The experienced jumpers don't tend to have that much of an escalation other than pull time. It's on exit, it's a drop in heart rate, it's a drop in blood pressure. It's a completely different experience than the woofos think, right? I mean, if you were to actually notice how you feel when you leave the plane, it's just joyful relaxation if you're doing it right.
That's why I keep going back every weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only time in life that I just feel absolutely at peace and calm. And so I'm like, I don't know where the fear and anxiety is coming from, the people that are experienced jumpers or but
Well, habits of thought, perhaps. Habits of thought of doubting themselves, forgetting who they are, forgetting that they are fully capable of handling whatever comes at them. Just because it's true doesn't mean you believe it. So I think that self doubt can be a source of higher heart rate and lower brain activity in the frontal portions that we very much need. That's the problem. I mean, if fear didn't cause a detriment, it just caused you to be more acute and awake and aware. Well, great, have at it. But that's not the case. We know that it narrows people's focus of attention to such a small space that they are not so good at surprises. They don't expect, anything. They're not aware of anything outside of what they're focused on. And then they can end up pulling on a hard pull all the way down to Cypress altitude because they're hyperfixated, right? They can, stare at the one tree in the landing area until they run into it. Fear is quite dangerous in its high levels, isn't it? And I think it's a matter of balancing the the reality of what you're capable of with the task at hand and choosing tasks that are within your realm. Not going outside your depths. If you're nervous on your 300th jump because you're doing your first wingsuit jump, maybe it's because you only have 300 jumps. Maybe you would feel differently at 500 jumps.
Yeah.
Yes, I know USPA allows it at 200. I still think it's too green, too soon.
Yeah, I've been debating it. I still haven't pulled the trigger on it, but
Take your time. Take your
yeah.
time. That's a long journey. That to become a wingsuit flyer for me is um, as much of a transition from being a woofo to being a skydiver it is to becoming a wingsuit flyer. It's that much different. In base jumping too, it's that much of a shift. So take your time if you're
That
interested.
stuff's just crazy. There's no way I would ever base jump.
Well, you don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean,
It
none of us
looks
here are avid
fantastic.
base
And
jumpers.
and just thrilling. Maybe I don't know. Maybe one day if skydiving wears off, the thrill wears off, but I doubt it. But wingsuiting does appeal to me. That's just the idea of being able to fly above the clouds and just hang out a little bit longer in free fall. And
Oh, it's lovely. It really is. But it's a lot more complicated. It's not the same thing as you run out to the plane and you just, oh, what do you do? I'm just going to do a solo, and you hop out in your shorts or whatever. This is a complicated skydive. And if you don't
yeah,
remember even just one of those zippers, if or one of those leg straps that you can't see because it's inside the suit, right? People jump
yeah,
without their leg straps on. It's happened at least twice, probably more. Right. So this is why I think it's great for people to begin the thought process moving into the more complicated avenues in skydiving. Start it really early, whether it's swooping or wingsuiting or anything else. Start thinking about it early and start learning gently and slowly, so that it's not all at once. Where you shouldn't be learning everything you need to know about wingsuiting on your first flight course,
yeah.
or your first trip to the Perrine to do a base jump. You should be beginning as early as you can in all the creative ways that you can. I urge people to if a friend has a wingsuit that they're not using, put it on. Walk around, feel it. What is that like? Put a blower fan on you so it inflates. There's lots of different blowers that work really well for that. The carpet blowers are my favorite. The snail blowers, really good
Yeah.
for that. You get a big one. You can sit on a creeper, so just scoot back a little bit, and all three wings will inflate real nicely. And then you can practice pulling with both hands coming in, right? And you have
That's a
somebody,
good idea.
right? Just you're creeping towards that goal that might be 3 years down the road. It's fine. The patient people do better. And I love that about this sport. There's always more. And I wouldn't, because you mentioned something that I hear a lot, I wouldn't necessarily frame it as when regular skydiving gets boring and I need more of an adrenaline buzz, maybe I'll go to this thing, get into CRW, or I'll get it. Well, what if you didn't frame it that way? Maybe we don't think of it as an adrenaline addiction. Take that out of it. And just think of it as I want to have fun and I want to learn. I love the expansion of my knowledge and understanding. I wonder about new things. But it's not like the old stuff gets stale. Going up on a simple skydive, even later on when you've got all these other skill, it can be just as exciting, just as fun, just as passion driven. And that attitude can spread into everything. That's the way I try to do my dishes. Just be as present as I can, not making one thing better than the other. Oh, I wish I was skydiving. I took that. I had it on my car. What do they call the license plate cover? I won it at some boogie. I'd rather be skydiving, and I had it on my car for years. And a few weeks ago, I switched out my car, and I'm putting the new license plate on. I was like, what a horrible statement that is not very egocentric. That's not who I am. I wouldn't rather be skydiving. I would love to go skydiving, but I'd love to go climbing. Love to go paddling. I'd love to go to hang out with my kids and do ridiculous artwork as we do. It's all equally awesome. And the reason why I say this is because the adrenaline addiction has led many of my friends towards greater and greater levels of risk as they developed a callus for the adrenaline. And then they had to take greater risks to the point where their skills weren't enough to save them, because it becomes more of a probability game in the higher realm of this stuff, whether it's low altitude wingsuit buzzing over the mountain or something else, swooping or whatever. If you're doing it for the adrenaline, it's a slippery slope. To know that you're doing something novel is exciting, and it will cause excess adrenaline, but I'm doing it because it's novel, not for the adrenaline. That's my way of approaching these things. And it's led me to do some very, very dangerous stuff. I mean, all kinds of crazy dangerous stunts or whatever over the years. But I'm not doing it because it's dangerous. I'm doing it because it's fun. It's a passion-driven curiosity that I wonder, I wonder if that'd work.
Yeah! Nice one! Yeah!
That was amazing!
That was cool! Yeah!
Look at that! Holy crap!
Yeah! 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 Nice run! Yeah!
Life is a risk. There's a huge risk in life. The biggest risk in life is that you'll waste it. Is that you'll be 80 years old and kicking yourself saying, if only I'd done this, oh, I wish I'd done that. The biggest risk in life is that you waste your opportunity of living it.